Hi patrons, thanks again for joining me. Got a waterscape for you today. I've used a reference photograph, I'll show you that in a second. Wasn't quite sure where this one was going at about the halfway stage. It looks so boring, but then I re-wet it. I just used some clean water on the brush, re-wet it, just loosened the whole thing up again, and in the end I was quite pleased the way it turned out. So let me show you the reference photograph. So this painting, it was always going to be about capturing this sort of light against this dark landmass here on the left hand side. Quite like the composition, so I've tried to keep it fairly similar. I think the only thing missing was a boat, which I added at the end of the painting. So let me show you the colours I've used. So for this one I've used the ultramarine, lemon yellow, alizarin crimson, raw sienna and light red, and then the brushes, got a large on Ranson Hake, and then the two riggers are number 3 and a size 0. Right, let's just start off with a bit of water. And then I'm going to let's see what we get with this. Bit of red, blue. Bit of alizarin, bit of ultramarine. Just trying to create this light effect that's so prominent in the reference photo. So I've done what I normally do. I've had about 2 seconds of thought and just dive straight in. So there's me sort of light effect, and then just about very faintly see quite high up. I'm just thinking, shall I? No, I'll leave it. Shall I? I'm going to take a few clouds out and see what it look like. I'll just take a bit of that out like that. And now if I just drop a hint of something over there. Pull down the reflections. I'm going to move over to the left hand side now, just sticking with these 3 colours, red and blue, bit of crimson in there as well, and we've got like a tree. I'll probably come back to this in a bit when it's dry, so it'll make it a bit darker maybe, possibly. I'll see how it goes. Yeah. There's a few things. Just flick those up over there, out of the way. This land is coming around, something like that. Sweeping it round. Little things sticking out the water, little reeds and whatnot. Put them over there. Bit of red, bit of blue. That's dried slightly, that first tree that I put in, so I'm just going to go over that again just to make it a little bit darker. pull down that reflection as well at the same time. Let's pop those in as well. There's some kind of little fence thing going on over there. Let's just get it flat first into the board before I do any further more. Just sort of angling down that way, somewhere. Put like a little fence. I think at this point I've already decided now I'm going to have to re-wet this because it needs, there's something missing. It needs a bit more oomph. Just a little bit of land in there, not a lot. A little bit stronger over there, just flick it up, pull it down. Right then, let's give that a quick dry and then I'm going to re-wet it and try and create some more interesting effects. So let's just clean the brush, get some relatively clean water on there. Let's just set that way down, and again this time let's just see if I can make it a bit more interesting. Let's dash some of this about. And then the sky. And use the little rigger brush, see if we can get some interesting trees and things growing. I'm tempted now to stop looking at the reference because the reference is there's not a huge amount on there, so I'm thinking about just using imagination a little bit more. Pop a few things in. It's not round there, these could be like boat masts or something in the distance. A few random marks and things. Pop some over there as well. A bit more water. the other rigger. Something I've started doing recently is just sort of drawing with the rigger brush, really, just using it like a pencil. Let's take a bit of green on there, just add a bit of green in there, because I can see there's a bit of grass and things. Just add it in there into the colour. Bit of colour over there, painted over a lot of our trees, don't worry about it. Add this, and I can always, there's a bit of green here in the foreground. I might just go over this with the rigger with the hike in a minute and sort of see what sort of effects we can get with this. If I just go a bit of red, a bit of blue, and just pop over some of that. Give it a bit more depth. I did have the right brush. It's just something there. We got something going on over there. Pull that over there and just see what that looks like. Just a few little lines, just little random details and things going on. See, I've let's use the bigger one. I'm just alternating between these two rigger brushes, and by re-wetting it and then adding sort of extra layers, it has sort of loosened it up a bit, made it a bit more interesting, because it's such a simple composition, the reference photo. I had an idea I might sort of struggle to make it interesting if I didn't get that instant light effect exactly right bang on. There was just something missing from it. I just need something going on in there, I think. Colours in the foreground, and I'm thinking I'm definitely going to need a boat. Definitely need a boat, I think. I do like it before. I like it now that I've re-wet it. What I might do is just still feel as if I've made a bit of a mess with this thing there. That could have been better. I've made it. It is a bit bigger now, as things often do. as you paint, as it don't look right, it just tends to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Just block a few more darks in there, I think. Just a few darks in this bank. I'm just wondering now if I've got enough lights and darks in there just to make it interesting. Just holding this brush sideways and just flicking it up, just trying to get sort of random effects from it. It's been a little bit more deliberate now with these reeds. These ones there. Let's just make those just different angles. Don't want to get too balmy with them. Just makes the foreground a little bit more interesting. I think that's what I'm going to do, is give that a quick dry now and then add a boat. I don't know what that water's going to do. I'm just going to let it go. I'm just going to go with the flow, let that water do whatever it wants. I think that's dry. Just make sure it's flat, and then I'll just put a little boat. Just gives it a focal point then. Let's take the little brush. I don't know if this will be, I don't think that'll be strong enough actually. I'm just ready to use white paints, or just let's do it like this. Where should the boat be? I think somewhere over there in the dark bit. I'm just going to take the paint off. I did wonder about actually using white paint to paint it in, but let's do it this way. If I can find a clean bit amongst all this tissue, and then just press that there. Do it a bit more water, just to loosen the paint a little bit more. Just getting down to the white of the paper to make a sort of white sails. Let's give that a dab, and then I just want a little reflection underneath. There's too much water on this brush, I think. And that's enough of a reflection, to be honest with you. That'll do it. I'm going to stick a little bird up there, I think. Just one little bird, and then use the other one. Just go into some red paints. See, red tends to just show up on whatever colour it is, so I can go into this dark here, and I know it will just show up. Right then, let's stick the mount on that and then have a look at how it compares to the photographs. So there's our finished painting in the mount. If we just look at the reference photograph, I think originally sort of up the first half of the painting I got too tied up into, I got caught up in the trap of trying to make it look too much like the photograph, and after a while, about just after I re-wet it, I started just loosening up a little bit and tried to just create the sort of impression rather than do it literally. I was trying to be too precise with these distant trees and this little fence and all this, that, the other. And then after I just thought, what on earth am I doing? Just paint the scene. I did start. If you've seen previous videos, you'll have seen me use the spray gun, just spraying water. Now that was to replace using the brush to actually re-wet it. But I've started using the brush again to re-wet it because I actually like the way it dislodges some of the paint. Even though I've dried it, it will dislodge some of it, and I actually like that effect. I think it adds to the overall effect, really. And I think I was at halfway on this one. I wasn't quite sure what was going to happen because I just thought it looked so bland. I think re-wetting it has really helped make it a lot more interesting and given it a lot more sort of textures and things. Also, using the rigger brush. I never used to use the rigger brush like I did in this one. Just bashing around here, bits of colour, adding little darks here and there, and it does help. Really helps make it a lot more interesting. All these marks, you know, darker marks, lighter marks as well can be achieved. So you see all the little branches and trees and things just disappearing into the distance. So, and then just bashed in loads at random, and then was a lot more deliberate with these ones here, right in the foreground, just to bring some sort of control over it, and obviously, and then pushed them right up into the light, just to increase the contrast. So looking back there, so yeah, I'm quite pleased how this one turned out, and then just decided. I can't really these sorts of scenes. You've got to have a boat, you know what I mean. I think in times gone by, I would have worried about the fact that the reflection's not quite triangular, and after a while, you just learn to just leave it alone. It doesn't matter if it's not exactly the same, as long as it's there or thereabouts. That's all you need. So, hope you enjoy that. Thanks as always for watching and for your support. Keep posting your own paintings on the community page. If you've got any questions, please ask. So until next time, happy painting, and I'll see you again soon.